I called out my friend for dating a minor.
Throwaway for obvious reasons. I am quite new to Reddit, so I don't know if this kind of post is allowed. I hope so because I really need advice. My 18F friend, 18M, let's call him John, is texting and flirting with Nicole, 14F. In my country, when you are 18 you still go to high school. However, in my opinion there is no way that a 14-year-old has the same maturity as an 18-year-old. At first I didn't say anything, because the whole situation was making me uncomfortable, but when John told me that he asked her out on a date I just couldn't remain silent anymore. I told him in the nicest way possible that she was too young for him. In my country at 14 you are a freshman in high school, and that he should date girls who are closer to his age. He got really angry at me and called me a toxic friend, because instead of being happy for him I was berating him. What should I do? I firmly believe that what he did was wrong, but in the past he has been there for me in very difficult moments, when no one else wanted to help me, and I don't want to lose his friendship. Also, I don't think he is some kind of predator. I believe that he didn't understand the gravity of the situation. Moreover, in my country the age of consent is 14, but that doesn't make it any less weird tbh. Same thing happened with a 13-year-old and 18-year-old. He started talking to her when she was 12. In that experience, my friend group gave him the benefit of the doubt and told him it was wrong. Very wrong, as he should know that by then she is a child. That being said, he ended up abusing this 13-year-old girl because he was more experienced when it came to emotions and used that knowledge to emotionally manipulate her. When he ended up pressuring her for nudes, she sent them, and he posted them to a porn site, and eventually shared them through the group chat we were all in when talking about porn stars. Our friend group isolated him, and somebody told people at the school and he was bullied into breaking up with the girl. His father kicked him out for dating the girl and called the police for having and spreading child porn.
I don't know about the specifics, but I think he's in prison and is staying there for the next 25 years. His case is not unique. This happens constantly, and is not always reported. Don't let this 14-year-old child be vulnerable to a man that knows better than to talk to her. Regardless of what age of consent is, the girl does not deserve that. Talk to him more about it, and if it gets bad, try talking to his parents. The consequences can be grave.
You 100% did the right thing. It's not appropriate. He doesn't like being called out obviously because he is doing something wrong, and if it advances it's illegal. With a friend it can be hard to do the right thing, but you did. You got this, flexed biceps.
You did the right thing. When I was in high school my friend group had ages between 14 and 18. When an 18-year-old dated a 14-year-old everyone thought it was gross. Even in high school most people have an idea about appropriate ages. 14 and 18 isn't the same thing as 24 and 28. They are in such different stages of life. This is straight up inappropriate. You did the right thing and he's in denial. If he isn't a predator, he should come to his senses and break it off. Stand your ground and stay firm in your opinion of the situation to him. Maybe call on other friends to emphasize your point.
Yeah, you did the right thing. That's really inappropriate.
Yeah, that's not appropriate at all.
If they were 24 and 28,
that would be one thing. There's a world of difference between 14 and 18. If it becomes a more legally sensitive situation you may have to be the adult in the room again and deal with it. It'll suck. But if your friend starts exhibiting more severe predatory behavior it'll need to be addressed. When I was 14 I didn't know any better and totally would have gone for an older guy. But that's the problem. The older guy is no better.
as someone who was groomed and subsequently obwased by an 18-year-old when I was 14, I 100% agree with you that this is inappropriate.
In your teenage years, your cognitive development between 18 and 14 is so much different. 14-year-olds tend to be more vulnerable. gullible and/or impressionable. There is a clear power imbalance and it leaves too much for the younger individual to be exploited. Everyone saying, well, if it's legal, just sound like Onesian.
Just because you can work around the law doesn't mean it's okay and something you have to support.
You did the right thing. When I was 14, I dated a few 18-year-olds. I felt so cool, but really they were just pervs preying on young girls. I'm sorry, but this is the same thing your friend is doing. You did the right thing. I dated guys older than me at that age and all I got was trauma in relationships that moved way faster than I was ready for. When I was his age, I briefly dated a girl her age. I didn't ask her out. She asked me out, but it was still a bad idea and I wish I'd had a good friend like you to talk me out of it. You did the right thing. And your friend is just not ready to hear it yet. Hang on and he'll probably come around eventually. If he doesn't, you might have been wrong about him being not a predator. In my country, the age of consent is 14. You could talk to their parents or tip them off anonymously. Assuming they don't already know, they may have a different perspective on what they feel is appropriate.
Sadly, if they don't care,
your friend has made his decision and he, apparently, has the backing of the law. Longer term, move to a country where the age of consent makes you more comfortable and make friends there. Or just be more selective in your friends where you are.
Either way,
this is not a guy you want in your life. Especially if you have kids of your own one day. Thank you for being a good person. It's so horrible when people just let that sort of thing slide. Why can't he date someone his own age? I'm my country 18 is an adult and he is a pedo.
It's valid criticism. I'd suggest he go no contact with her until she turns 18.
If they ever reconnect, going no contact for now will buffer any grooming accusations. The story will just be, they briefly dated, decided to give it time and space and reconnected when they were both adults. From the view of someone in the US, I feel what you did was right. But that's only because the law is 18 for age of consent here. I've known many seniors in high school,
18 to 19,
who have messed with freshmen, 14 to 15, and it is seen as somewhat normal though. But that's only because they are still in high school. Soon as they are out of school, if they are still dating the 14 years old, it gets pretty weird. But considering the age of consent in your country, I feel like this sort of thing would be way more normalized. Not that morally I believe he isn't in the wrong, but technically in the eyes of the law he is justified, I guess. When people are young, they misinterpret others looking out for them. You are looking out for him and trying to help him in the long run. The 14 years old is too young to understand dating him would be a bad idea because there really is a huge gap in maturity, making mature decisions between them. Where the 14 years old could feel super mature, grown up to decide to date him, he should feel the opposite because it's more like emotional manipulation of the younger person. Speaking as a person who used to be a 14 years old girl over 10 years ago, I dated older guys 16, 18, 22, 28. All I got was used, abused and told it was my fault. By the way, age of consent usually has additional strings attached, depending on your local laws. Sometimes they say it's age of consent at 14 between two 14-year-olds. Or with parent permission up to a certain age gap. If he wants to push those laws, he better know 1000% every detail.
You spoke with him about it. That is already a good thing.
The difference between two 14-year-olds or two 18-year-olds can be big. But it's still morally wrong. My opinion. He can't handle you honestly, then he is a bad friend. How do their parents feel about it?
You did the right thing.
I don't care what country it is. 14 is too young to be with an 18-year-old. The mind does not work the same. When I was 14, I had a 19-year-old who turned 20 while we were talking, trying to date me,
actually taking me out and acting as if we were dating.
At 14, I was just enamored by the attention and the fact that someone older than me saw me in such a way. Looking back, I realize it was absolutely not okay. I saw him as like a Prince Charming and he saw me as an easy target. Plain and simple. Even if you lose your friendship over this, you need to know you did what was right.
If not to just give him that wake-up call.
But possibly for that girl as well. Whether he listens or not is obviously up to him, and if it's not illegal where you are, obviously you really can't do anything more. But morally, you made the right choice and I commend you for that. When you say a senior dating a freshman, it doesn't sound sketchy. Happens all the time. 18-yo dating a 14-yo sounds sketchy. Maybe point out to your friend that the age will be a real issue next year when he is out of school and will be dating a 15-yo sophomore. That might just make it clear to him.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.